Now in 1 John chapter 3 verse 18, in our continuous series of the study of the book of 1 John, in chapter 3 verse number 18, first of all from verse 1 to 18, John is talking about love. And verse number 1 of 1 John chapter 3 bring us to this song that says, behold what manner of love the Father has given unto us. Behold what manner of love the Father has given unto us, that we should be called the sons of God. That we should be called the sons of God. That is 1 John chapter 3 verse number 1. Behold, what manner of love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called the sons of God. And therefore he continues to tell us how God has loved us in that chapter. And as he gets to verse 18, he tells us, dear children, do not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. And John speaks about love throughout this book of 1 John. The main theme is love in 1 John, 2 John, 3 John. Love, God is love, all through. And as we look at 1 John chapter 3 verse 1 to 18, I want to synthesize so much verse 18 first. As we progress, we shall also look at the others. Now verse 18 as I've said, says, do not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. With actions and in truth. And this verse or this area sent me to another place of the Bible where Jesus Christ talked about the parable of a good Samaritan in the book of Luke. And in the parable of a good Samaritan, when Jesus was talking about, there's a man, a Pharisee, who comes to him. And the Pharisee is asking that, Master, what should I do to inherit the kingdom of God? And Jesus telling him, what does the law say? Jesus asking the same Pharisee, the expert of the law, to respond to the same, the book of Luke. And the expert of the law is saying that love the Lord your God with the whole of your heart. That's Luke chapter 10. In Luke chapter 10 should be verse number 25. Luke chapter 10 verse number 25. And Jesus asking them what is written in the law. And the expert of the law says, love the Lord your God with the whole of your heart, your mind, your strength. And also love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And therefore now, thereafter, the parable of the Good Samaritan was narrated. It came from this example where now this Pharisee was asking, who is your neighbor? But the statement says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Let's just look at that statement only. There is love yourself there. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Therefore, John is telling us to love with not with words and speech, but in action and speech. But we cannot do this if we don't love ourselves first. So, who are the people are you supposed to show love? Number one, yourself. Yourself first. Look at the good of yourself, your health, your destiny, your purpose in life, how you present yourself, that you are the best, that you can do it, you are able, you are bold differently than other people, unique, you are unique. Those people who go for suicide because they say that depressed, well, there are those who can go through that and they need support. I agree. But don't you, if you finish yourself, you kill yourself, then you cannot be there to do anything else. It means when you say you want to kill yourself, you've already made a judgment that you are not supposed to be there. That you don't amount to anything. You do drugs that will kill your health. You do things that can put you in cell or in prison. You do things that will confine you, will limit your progress in life. You are a young person, supposed to work hard and read and study and enlarge your tent. But the things you do hinder you. Now, let's give the example of this guy in the parable of the Good Samaritan. The parable of the Good Samaritan says, now there was a man who was walking a path from Jerusalem going to Jericho. But it was in the dark, and he was attacked by bandits on the road. Now, I want to ask a question in this place. Is there anybody who cautioned this man that don't go that path? You may be attacked there. It's just my assumption. Mostly where we stay, people know paths that are dangerous. People will tell you, and even yourself, you know this path has no lights. I am alone. I have no security. There is a high tendency that can be attacked, even you have not been told. My assumption in this area, I've said my assumption is that this guy braved his way, that I can pass. I have been passing this way. Let me also go again today. Just because you survived the danger you caused to yourself yesterday, it doesn't mean you can survive that danger today. Just like people who drive recklessly, just because you didn't get an accident when you drive recklessly yesterday, it doesn't mean you may not get an accident today. So this man goes a path that is dangerous. See now, he's attacked and he's unconscious and near death. That was not self-love. I don't know why he was going that path. I'm saying it's an assumption I'm making. It can be overridden by other explanations because every coin has two sides of it. But I was only taking this part of love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I got a revelation of this man who was traveling in this parable of a Good Samaritan. Remember, it's a parable. Maybe it happened or did not happen because a parable, Jesus was bringing to give an explanation of an idea. Loving yourself. This man got attacked. Maybe he was walking on the road, he was walking alone. But someone may say, what about those ones who are passing there who did not help him? Do I want to mean that they didn't take caution also? The priest, the Levite who passed, and this Good Samaritan who came to help him. Did they take caution? I'm not sure. Maybe they pass at a later time when they know attackers are not there. Or maybe they also risked their lives also, just like this man. So loving yourself is the first that we need to do so that we can show it to other people. But remember, in the book of John, Jesus brought a higher level. That was in the law. Love your neighbors, you love yourself. That one was in the law. Remember, this in the grace, the book of John, where Jesus is saying, you're supposed to love each other the way I have loved you. The love of Jesus is the love of grace. So we are not the standard of loving other people. But Jesus is the standard. Jesus is the standard. But even though, let us use the standard of Jesus by loving ourselves first, then we can show the same to other people. The second kind of people we're supposed to love are your own family members. We find in Titus chapter 2, verse number 3 to 4, that younger women should be taught to love their husbands and children. Mostly people have talked about men. Men, love your wives. Wives, respect your husbands. That is in Ephesians. So don't forget that the same Paul talked about wives being taught to love their husbands and children. How to love? They need to be taught. It doesn't just come like that. To love children, love your husband. In Ephesians now, Paul is telling husbands to love their wives as Christ loved the church. The same Ephesians chapter 6, Paul is reminding fathers and mothers. When you look at a worldwide translation, it talks about parents. Do not embitter your children, but bring them up in the godly discipline, so they will not be discouraged. So parents have been told to show love to their children as they bring them up in a godly discipline, loving discipline. Husbands have been told to love their wives. Wives have been told to love their husbands. And John now is telling us, this love is not by words or speech, but by action and truth. The third people we're supposed to love are the people called neighbors. Who are neighbors? Anybody you meet in life, anywhere. You can meet them in school, you can meet them in church, you can meet them when you're traveling, where you are staying residential. People that life brings you in touch with. And remember now, the world is like a small village. We are interconnected we are interconnected online in the computer facilities, the internet, e-commerce, teleconferencing. We are interconnected. Meaning, I can be here in Kenya, but I'm interconnected to someone in the Philippines. There's possibility of meeting anytime. So everyone in the world now becomes your neighbor. How do you love your neighbors? You don't pollute the environment. Because when you pollute the environment, it affects your neighbors. How do you pollute the environment? Noise making, solid waste disposal, and all the types of pollution. They destroy the environment for your neighbors. Help them where you can. The needy and all those people. Those are your neighbors. Know them. Know their names. Associate, socialize. That's the third person. Who was the neighbor here? The Good Samaritan was passing. And he saw a man who had been beaten to near death. And he had empathy on him. And he assisted him. He took him to an inn. Remember, let us look at the inn, the owner of the inn. The owner of the inn, that was a hotel, not a hospital. But an injured man is brought to an inn, a hotel, to be taken care of. I remember a stranger brings a stranger to you, a stranger who is injured, and he's telling you, take care of him. Take this small amount of money. I'm going, and when I come back, I'll repay all the expenses you'll have used. How many of you will have accepted to take care of an injured man? And you're not a doctor, but you have to put him on your bed sheet, good sheets in the hospital. Are you not afraid that policemen will think that you participated in this thing? But you have to help the man. The innkeeper was a good neighbor. And the Good Samaritan was also a good man. They showed love, this man. Don't forget the innkeeper. And he helped this man until this Good Samaritan had to come from where he had gone to repay. The man had to use his own money and resources to treat the ill person. He could have blocked them at the gate and said, no, I'm not a doctor. Find a hospital and take this man there. But this man, the innkeeper, used his resources to support. Don't forget the heart of the innkeeper. Loving your neighbor. The fourth person is supposed to love is your enemy. Now Jesus says in his letters in Matthew and Mark that No, it should be Matthew, that you have heard in the past that you love those who love you and you hate your neighbor. But I'm telling you now, love your neighbor, your enemy, and pray for those who persecute you. So these witches you're killing and people's persecute you that you are praying, they can suffer. Are you living like Jesus Christ? Remember John the disciple asked that they can call fire from heaven to burn the village whose people rejected the gospel. But Jesus said, no, we are not of the spirit of Elijah that call for fire to kill our enemies. We have the spirit of love. In this context, we don't call for fire, because for such people, we were called to minister to them. Love your neighbor and pray for those who persecute you to do well. Pray for them to do well in life. That's a bit difficult, but that's what Jesus is saying. That's what he's saying. And lastly, who are the people supposed to love? Brethren in the church. Bible says, love each other deeply. Deeply. Love one